G'day everyone, and welcome to Griffinix Tabletop Miniatures. In this video, we will be checking out Team Yankee World War III M113 Platoon sprue sort of thing. We're gonna build the vehicle basically this time for my Australians, and it'll be with the T50 turret option. Let's get into it. Alright then, let's have a look. Really excited to get a few more of these. It's not the first I've built. I'll just tilt the camera over to the side so you can see a few that I've worked on earlier. And I've got some leopards there that I'm in the middle of painting, and some of the little jeeps and the MRV. Alright, let's have a look now. I have the old box, so my apologies to everybody. I haven't got the new NATO box. I've got this one, the older box, where it specifically comes with the T50 turrets in the box. Now you have to order those turrets separately, but I suppose it means there's a lot less M113 box variants. You know, it'll save them on packaging, money, and the environment at the same time. So that's a all-around good thing, I guess. Just a bit annoying if you forget to order your turrets. Anyway, let's have a look. As I showed in the review, if you've seen it, this kit to put together is quite simple. It's just cut out the body, you put the tracks on, which are keyed, so you don't stuff it up. And then you put the little side tracks on, you know, like the front, the little armoured bit, the door, the hatch bit at the back, the top, and whatever you're doing with it. Like, I'm definitely making the T50 variant, so I don't need to worry too much about the other options. There, let's see how we go. With those simple instructions in mind, let's get to the sprue. Now, let's start cutting out the main body of this vehicle. Should definitely help get things started. The tracks off. So it's very simple. Just cut carefully. Sorry, I'm just going to adjust the camera a little. So I need the closed top, so we'll cut this one out. Now this is a very nice and soft plastic. These models, like, it's fairly durable, but it's fairly soft as you cut it, so it all comes out very easily. All right, so we'll get this front section off. This tiny little bit. There we are. Okay. Now that's most of the parts I think I'll need from that particular sprue. We'll just put that aside. Not most, it's all the bits I'll need from that sprue, actually. Okay. Now we've got this one. Let's cut out this front armoured section. Look at all the little spare bits you've got for all the different options for things. It's very cool to see. Very much like that. Let's sit that down. We've got this rear part of the tank here with the little door on it. We need that. Sit that down. And then or whatever. Now, in my previous review video for this kit, before I cut anything else out, I just want to bring to people's attention how I mentioned that I was very happy that Battlefront give their cards basically away in their kit, and saying that Games Workshop should think about doing the same thing, really, frankly. Turns out Battlefront won't be doing that now. They're selling the card packs completely separately, and not giving you the new cards in the new boxes, which is a bit unfortunate. But you know, it was wonderful while it lasted, doing it this way. Anyway, so if you get the new box, the NATO box variant for the M113, you won't have the cards. You'll need the appropriate cards for what army you're playing, which are available, and they're not too expensive. Let's be honest, they're not too expensive. So, and they're so handy that I'd recommend buying them. And I have indeedly ordered mine. I've already got all my British ones so far, so that's all good. And I've ordered Australian and Dutch, especially given some of their new options that they have. It'd be nice to have the additional cards for those. It's just a little annoying sometimes at how long it takes for products from Battlefront to get to me. But that's not their fault, ultimately. It's just, they're manufactured overseas, obviously, in Malaysia. Or, yeah, I'm pretty sure in Malaysia. And, you've got the head office now in the UK rather than in New Zealand, and it's a New Zealand company. And anyway, it can be hard to get stock in. It takes a long time. But you place your orders nice and early, and you're likely to get what you want on time for release and things like that. In my case, I ordered a little late, so it's on me. It's my fault. I'm going to have to wait a little bit. But that's okay. I've got some things coming soon, like my new NATO book, the card packs, the Dutch mortar teams, and a few... Ooh, whoops, don't do that. Like I just did, cut into the armor. Be very careful not to do that. And I've got on back order, I've got some Abrams tanks for my Aussies, some LAVs, a couple of boxes of LAVs, and again for the Aussies, and then some Leopard 2A5s or something. Is that what they're called? The upgraded Leopard 2s for my Dutch force. I'll be very happy to get my hands on those. Hopefully, fingers crossed, they'll arrive before Christmas and New Year's, but I wouldn't be surprised if it took a little bit longer. Wouldn't be surprised if I don't see them till the middle of January or the end of January. Can always hope, though. And it's not like I haven't got things to work on in the meantime, so that's okay. When something's as good as this, sometimes it's just worth waiting for, isn't it? Don't know about anyone else, but it's bloody hot here today in Australia. It's quite hot. I'm sitting here with all these lights on and the computers and the screens, and yeah, it's making my room very hot. So I apologise if I keep making tired or exhausted sounds. It's just, it is humid and hot, and I can't really do much about it, unfortunately. So I apologise. Anyway, just careful when cleaning up things like this, because this bit's really thin here. You don't want to cut into it too deeply, because it has a little lip that sort of curves just that little bit, as you can see. It has that little curved bit. You don't want to cut into it too deeply, so just be careful when cleaning that up. Alright, I think, let's get that a little, I think I'm good. That'll do. Alright, did that one, didn't do this one yet, oops, didn't do this one today. Is anyone else excited for the new Team Yankee releases? I know I have been, and certainly been watching a lot of Fog of War's channel, and quite a bit of the some of the other ones out there, Panzer Paint, and I think that's what he's called. And then there was Forearmed, Forewarned, or something. Yeah, he's a good channel too. If you want to see Team Yankee content and discussions and stuff. And there's a few channels out there, obviously, that do some battle reports, which is nice to watch. Nice to see. Miniature Wargaming, yeah, All Miniatures Great and Small. Yeah, quite a few little channels. So if you haven't seen them or watched them, I recommend giving them a check out. And you know, definitely got better quality content than I do. But yeah, it's nice. It's nice to be able to, in my opinion, at least sit back, watch some of the channels that you like, and just get totally engrossed in the hobby. Even better if you've got a personal company with you, of course. But sometimes that can't happen. So the next best thing, I think, is to whack on YouTube and have that inspiration right there. I'm just checking this one because I want to clean it up a bit better. That's a bit better. And if you are excited for new stuff coming out for World War III Team Yankee, what in particular? What tickles your fancy? Is it the new NATO forces book and their contents? New stuff for the French, Dutch, Aussies? The new Belgian forces? Or perhaps some new stuff for the Canadians? Or maybe you're not even interested in the NATO forces stuff, and perhaps the Nordic forces book that came out a bit before is more your style. Anyway, interesting to hear about it in the comments below. If you'd like to discuss it, that would be really helpful. Now, as you can see, these are fairly simple. And I actually thought these were specifically keyed, but I suppose they're not. But at the same time, with that being there, you could only put it on the one way around. So I guess it is keyed, but not quite like, say, not like the Leopard's tracks are keyed, you know? Or, yeah, that is the Leopard. For a second, I thought it was a Leopard 2, and I'm like, hang on, the Aussies don't use the Leopard 2. Anyway, so they'll go on like that. So what we'll do is I'll get my glue, and hope that it's not too blocked up, given the heat and humidity. See if it comes out. Yes, it is. I run along here, and I just make that slight line there, and then I do the same on the opposite side. I give this bit an extra that's got that as well. Set that down. Then generally, I take the needle tip here and I just poke it into this little spot. And just make sure that has glue, and then I just try to move it around so I don't have to put more glue out, but just make sure it's well spread so that you get good coverage and therefore greater surface area to connect the part to the vehicle more permanently, which is what we want. We certainly don't want these things coming apart. Now, let's glue that in. Take the other side. Now, any damage, like at see here, I went a little too deep with my blade, and I've cut into that track a bit. Now, when I paint it up and I put little bits of mud and stuff on there, eventually that will be covered, so it won't even be noticeable. So if you do that yourself, something like that on the tracks, don't worry, it's probably not going to be seen. Even on that angle, look, you're not going to see it unless you're doing. Well, even if you're doing that, you can't see it. So, you know what I mean. It's probably not going to be a very big issue. Okay, sit that there. Now, some people would leave that for a while to dry. Normally I would, but I'm in a hurry. And when I say leave it there, like normally I'd have, for instance, some of these other ones here. I usually build these in a production line manner. So I'd already have like all the parts cut out for all of them and just sitting in a line, and then I just go through, do all the tracks, and do all the tops, then do all the fronts and the backs and the side skirts. End. And that's usually how I do things. But seeing we're just building one as an example for the video, we'll just continue along. Let's get this glue around the rim. Just trying to keep it in that little recess that goes around the top there. Keep that like that. Now what I tend to do is let that glue do that, and then I grab this little piece. And it has these, excuse me, it has these tiny little raised bits here, which are obviously part of the hinge work for this little door piece, where, as you can see, that bit just fits in there like that, in between the little gaps there. So what I'm going to do is just gently just touch it with that. I'm not even going to put the end on it, because otherwise you'll probably put too much glue in that spot, and that's not something I want to do. I don't want to mess up the detail. And I generally come in from the back on this one and just do that. So that way, if a little bit of excess glue comes out, it's on the inside, not damaging any of the outside exterior. Yeah, because you don't want it to look too dodgy or anything, do you? And then I gently take that and just go like this, and then try to line it up, wiping away any excess glue. Now, I'm using my finger. You probably shouldn't do that. In fact, I recommend you use a piece of tissue or cloth or something that isn't going to leave much behind. So like a quality tissue, as opposed to a cheap tissue sometimes can be helpful. Sometimes the lower quality ones leave behind a little bit of that like tissue paper sort of thing, and you don't want to have that left on the model. So anyway, I get that, and then I put this in place, just like so, trying not to put too much pressure back on that little door, otherwise you might pop it in a bit. You don't want to do that. Alright, so then I come along and I just put that extra little bit of glue just along there, like that, just to make sure that when I put this piece in, it's all lined up. And then you see how this, the rear of this has this little raised section. I also then just make sure, tiny little bit of glue on there. Now, you obviously don't have to build these kits the way I do. There's probably better ways to do it, but this is my way. And, you know, it's worked for me thus far. So, whoop, see what I've done? I've put a little pressure on that door. So what I use is this top bit and just push it from behind till it's back lined up. Nice. There we go. Now, again, in the little recess, just let it run on its own. I'm not even squeezing this, by the way. I'm just letting it flow out gently at an angle and encouraging it to come out a little by movement, not by actually squeezing the glue. With fine details like this on this thin plastic, you really don't want to overuse your polystyrene cement. You don't want it to be too much. You could easily overdo it, and then it won't look so great. Now, gently pop that into that recess. There we go. Nice and smooth. As you can see, the kit goes together quite well. It's very... Like, it fits very well. Like, look at that. Like, there's hardly any seam lines or anything. Like, it's on such a small vehicle, too, or such a small kit. It's wonderful. It's a wonderful thing to put together. Very simple, very easy, and looks great. It's only, like, very small, you know? Like, it's not like Games Workshop's vehicles and things of that nature. It's not such a big thing. Although now, Games Workshop are back to doing their epic sort of stuff with, what's it, Legione Imperialis or something, whatever it's called. So I suppose, you know, my comment is a bit stupid now. Anyway. Get that glue on there, and then let's get this plate on. I'm just putting, like I said, I just put the, well, I didn't say, but I just put the glue on that little front square bit because it's going to be covered by this entirely, and a little bit over the little bits where the raised armor part here meets there, and those little keyed points, so to speak, and that's nice. It just sits on. We're pretty much done, except it turns out I forgot to cut a part out. Ha ha ha. Let's see, here we are. Got to be it. The little hatch to go in the top. There we go. Now, don't be a fool like me and forget to cut that out. I suppose at least I remembered towards the end there where I'm like, there's a hole. Perhaps it needs to be filled. And yes. Yes, it does. So we'll get this cleaned up. Put it on, and then we'll deal with the side skirts. Now, let me just check the bottom of this. Yes, it is. See, look, it has the nice little rim. So that's got a little bit of excess glue on it. So just give me a sec. I'm just going to wipe that off on a tissue. There we go. That way I'm not getting it on my fingers quite so much. Just go, oh, see? A little bit too much glue came out there. Good thing it's on the inside and doesn't really matter. But yeah, just go around that little rim if you can. And put the little handle bit here where you have the gate for the handle. So those two raised bits here. I'll just put a little swap of glue right between them. Whack that on. There you go. Just clean up any glue excess. Sort of comes out. There we go. Nice. Alright. Now, am I going to put the side skirts on? Actually, thinking about just leaving them off. Yeah, I'll just leave them off. All the rest of mine have them off, so I'm going to leave these ones off. So much for putting them on. Anyway, that's the general main body of the M113, which for most variants that people will be using is probably the most common way to sort of build it up, at least. Or one of the more common ways. Set this like this. Because now, I need to find my super glue. Here it is. Hopefully it hasn't dried up on me. And get this, one of these turrets out. Now I don't need the crews, I don't need the people. Move them out of the side. I do, however, need a hatch and a gun for the turret. Alrighty. I'll put those back in. Carefully seal it back up. Anyway, let's clear up these little excess bits of metal that we just need to cover. Little metal flashing. And just gently smooth that end a bit. Okay, the hatch is probably done. Let's see, what do we have to clean up on here? That little bit. Actually, that's about it. Just maybe push that back a bit. Now, some of these turrets, obviously, being the gun pieces, rather, obviously being metal and quite thin, bend and get taken out of shape quite easily. So look, that's all leaning to the side. So what I'm going to try and do is use my fingernail to just sort of grab that and pull it back a bit, if I can, and then try to push that one back. I didn't do the best job. I'll try separating the two if we can. Just there. Do that. Then move that. And just gently straighten and straighten. And there. That's probably a little bit, sorry, you can't see that, but it's probably straightened up a little bit more than it was initially. So I just used the blade to gently put between the two bits here, just so I could make sure this one pushed down into a straight position, so I could then straighten up the longer barrel. Just a little trick there. Now, let's see, is that dried up? I'm not sure. Let's hope it's not. Oh, there's glue in there and it's moving. So that looks good. There we go. It's not all dried up. Isn't that annoying when you go to use your super glue that you may have even only opened earlier that day to use on something, and then it's just dried up and it's like, It's always good to have spares, just in case. Now that kind of just goes on like that. I wanted it closed. Obviously you could have it made to sit open if you wanted to. In which case you could probably then put the crew figure pieces in the top of your choosing. Anyway, this one's going to be closed, so I don't need to worry about that. I'm just going to put a little super glue against the back wall where the gun's going to go, and a little bit to the bottom, the recess there where it sits. And just ensure that it gets moved around on the sides a bit as well. Mind you, I'll clean that glue up. And I don't usually like leaving it down on an angle like that. I like sitting it up if I can, leaning it against something like that. Okay, so now I take the gun, turret, and just try to fit that in. You may have to slightly bend the metal, like as you put it in. It might just bend anyway, just by the pressure you're putting in. But then once it's in, you can just straighten it back up, like I've done, and there you go. It's a fairly simple thing. It's all put together, and it just literally, if you have the magnets, obviously you can glue a magnet here, and then another one in this circle recess, and then it'll turn quite easily. But even if you don't, that's not the best example, but even if you don't, it just sort of clips over anyway, like that. Oh, sorry. It clips over the top, just sort of like that, and there you go. Very cool. And that's the M113 transport with the T50 turret for my Team Yankee ANZAC force, Australian and New Zealand force. Yeah, it's a fun little kit, and obviously there's 5 in the kit, so there's another 4 to make, but you get the idea. It's a fairly simple kit. It's nice, it looks good, the detail is great, as you would expect on Battlefront's miniatures, and yeah, set that aside and let's bring out one I've painted, perhaps, or have begun painting. It's not finished, but that's something I can do later, show you how I painted it, perhaps. Yeah, gives you some idea of what it might look like in the future. And here's one with the turret hatch open and a commander or some lookout dude or whatever, sitting out the top. Yeah, there you go. Give you a bit of a close-up on some of those tracks and the detail and stuff. See, like the lights and things on it. Anyway, that's what I did, and that's what I'm doing with the other 4, making them like these. Yeah. Well, I hope you enjoyed this video and that you found it, useful or helpful in the construction of your M113s for any one of your Team Yankee armies. And even if you're not watching this video for that reason, perhaps it's just some more, reminder that Team Yankee is cool and that the miniatures are nice, and just something else to put on in the background while you're building and painting. Either way, I thank you very much for coming by and checking out the video and spending some time here with me on this channel. And yeah, if you wouldn't mind, if you liked it, of course, giving me a like, but hitting that subscribe button, hitting the notification button or bell, whatever, so you can stay up to date. And yeah. Oh, hang on. I've made a boo-boo. I forgot something. Just before the end of the video. Let's see. Where's this little hatch? There it is. How did I stuff that up? This little spot here. I forgot the hatch. And it's this little round one that I've cut off. I'll show you on the sprue where it is. There it is. Very silly of me. So just before the end, I'll clean it up and I'll glue it on. My apologies. In such a hurry to essentially get up and get a nice cold glass of water and not be sitting quite in... This room that I'm in, by the way, is like the hottest room in my house. So it'll be nice to get back out of this room again once the video is complete. at least for a few minutes. It's getting pretty hot. The sun hits this side of the house, you see, around this time of day, so it's a bit frustrating. Anyway, get the glue. Let's put it around the rim. I put a little bit on the inside. It doesn't really need to be there, but I just put it there anyway. Why not? And then you just put it on straight so this square is to the front, and the little hinge bit goes out in between these little bits to the side there. And there you go. Now it's really done. Now we can do the comparison, really. Look, see, that's better. I just didn't notice that I didn't do it. Oh, well. We all make mistakes. Anyway, like I said before, please subscribe to the channel if you like this video. Give it a like. Hit the notification bell to stay up to date with all the videos coming out on this channel. I thank you once again. I've been Matt the Hat, your host at Griffinix Tabletop Miniatures, and I'll catch you in the next one.